Okay, so I have to be super honest with you guys. I legit freaked out when I found out about this trailer. So I've been watching Degrassi probably since the early 2000s. I would say that I probably started watching it in middle school, and I just really loved everything about it. The tagline, the end, it goes there. Degrassi literally was everything. And the best thing about Degrassi is the actors, they just seem like regular everyday kids. Whereas when you look at most teen dramas, it just looks like a bunch of older people playing like they're a younger age. And with Degrassi, it was completely different. Everyone looked age appropriate. And when you go back and you watch that first season and you see how young they are, and then you also see their progression through high school, that made Degrassi so much more relatable. And I remember wanting to watch the original Degrassi from the 80s, but I feel like I was having trouble finding it, and maybe I could only find certain episodes online, but I actually wanted to watch it from the beginning all the way through. And so that is really cool that Canada has the longest running teen drama show of all time, at least in Canada, I think. I don't know. Yeah, so I just looked it up. The Degrassi franchise is widely considered the longest running teen drama series in history, so that is pretty cool. It ran from 1979 to 2017, and I actually did watch the class after Jimmy's class, and that was okay, but it just didn't capture the vibe for me, at least, because I feel like I learned about the show and watched the show when it was Jimmy's class and all of that, and so to see the next generation, you can kind of relate to them, but it's just not going to be the same as watching the original, at least for me. So if you watched the 80s, you might really like the 80s, and then when you got to Jimmy's class, you might have liked it, but it might not have felt the same to you as the class from the 80s. And so yeah, I've been a huge fan of Degrassi. I saw a while back that Drake was planning to like reboot it, but then something happened and that didn't work out. And then maybe after that, or maybe just before the reboot, that's when Drake dropped his I'm Upset video, and it was a huge love letter to Degrassi. You had them chasing the shooter through the halls, you had Nina Dobrev making an appearance, and then everybody else from the cast as well. And so it was just a really big moment. And if you are a Degrassi fan, you know how huge it was to see that I'm Upset video, and just to shout out on the callback to the Degrassi show. And then now we have the trailer, and from what I saw of it, it basically seems like it's going to be the Degrassi version of Quiet on Set. And so I don't know how controversial this documentary is going to be, but we are definitely going to watch it together, so let's play it.
I didn't have a great time in high school. I just didn't really fit in.
It took me a long time. Like, I had my very, very awkward, like, cocoon stage.
I went to a high school for the performing arts, and there was a notice about auditions for this new kids show.
And then one day, my mom called me and told me, you got the role. And I just grabbed my bag and left. And man, what a wild journey that started.
And that is, I'm going to pause it here, that is so crazy for Jimmy, because he's talking about how he didn't have a good time in high school, he wasn't popular, and then now he's like one of the most popular rappers of all time. And I think after watching Degrassi, I think the first song of his I heard was Replacement Girl, and that is when you knew that he was just going to pop off and going to become this huge star. Now, I didn't know that he was going to get as big as he did, but that's just crazy to have this guy, not popular, good looking though, but not having a great high school experience. You land a role on this show, and then that completely changes your life. Like, can you imagine if he didn't do it? And then also, what would his rap career been like? Because everyone knew him from Degrassi, so it's not like he had to start from scratch and really make a name for himself. He already made a name for himself doing Degrassi.
A little Canadian series is shaking up the television industry. It's seen in 40 countries and won 7 international awards.
Thank you all for this award.
It is the longest running and most successful franchise in TV history.
What does this mean? Ribbed.
I watched an episode and was blown away. Oh my God.
When people talk about my old show on Dawson's, or they talk about Beverly Hills 90210, they don't know that the big granddaddy is Degrassi.
So I love that they have Joshua Jackson from Dawson's Creek shouting out Degrassi, because for people who are maybe 5 to 10 years older than me, they would have watched Dawson's Creek, whereas when I started high school, Dawson's Creek might have been like their senior year, something like that, going into their college years, so around 2003, 2004, and around that time, One Tree Hill just started coming out. And so for me, One Tree Hill is my favorite scripted show of all time, and One Tree Hill is the teen drama that I always talk about, but Degrassi really is laid the foundation, kind of, in a sense, for teen dramas, and to have it consecutively go for so long shows the impact of it, because this was really one of the first teen shows that was showing and covering all of these controversial topics. And I don't know if it made a difference that they were in Canada, that they were able to be a little bit more risky with the things that they talked about, because I know that in teen dramas in the United States, they did cover controversial episodes, but it also might have been a little bit different. So yeah, I just wanted to call that out because Degrassi doesn't get enough credit for how impactful it has been on teen drama and all of that stuff. And so I just like that he's paying homage to Degrassi, because I don't know if I would assume from him making that comment that he might have watched Degrassi when he was younger or something like that. I don't 100% know. But yeah, it's just nice to see other teen dramas call out Degrassi. And then what I was confused by was because when I first saw this trailer, I had no idea what it was for. And I saw a comment how someone was saying, oh, I thought this was for the new season of Degrassi, but it's for a documentary. And I think either way you get more Degrassi content, and even though you can't see it in the typical show scripted format, it is nice to see the characters and where they are now, because I did try to look up some of the people just to see what they were doing now, and some people had huge followings, other people didn't, which is normal for teen drama, especially if you don't really do a whole lot after Degrassi, and so you're just really known for Degrassi, which is totally fine. And also too, not everyone watched Degrassi, so if you missed the show when it was running, then you don't really know who these people are, and you're less likely to follow them. But like with Nina Dobrev, she got Vampire Diaries, and she made a huge name for herself in the US outside of Degrassi, and so there's going to be more people who are going to know of her because of Vampire Diaries. That was a huge show, and then on top of doing Degrassi and all of that stuff, even though Mia was super annoying in Degrassi. So let's keep playing.
Apparently the old Degrassi was like bare bones.
Wardrobe was a lot of our own clothes that were brought in.
We also had lunch duty where we helped with preparing lunch and doing dishes.
It was the 80s.
Hi. All that stuff that happened on the show was stuff that was happening to us in real life.
I thought you said you knew how to drive.
Don't worry.
My character was a virgin. I was a virgin.
She had to be one of my first kisses for sure. Damn, I never thought about it like that.
It was kind of a whirlwind experience, probably like a bit out of body.
I knew that I'd basically be pushed out of the closet on television.
They were becoming real teen icons.
We love Degrassi!
I'm nervous, man. Look at all these people.
There's the fans waiting at the hotel. It's like, wait, reality check. What?
It was way too much pressure. Getting called a slut or trash. You know, there was a lot of hate.
I'm going to pause it here because we're seeing a lot of the parents from Degrassi The Next Generation who were in that original TV show from the 80s who are now parents in Degrassi The Next Generation. And so it's really cool that they bring back people who are kind of connected to the franchise, because I really hate it when they do like spin-offs or they do a reboot and they don't bring the original people back, because like for One Tree Hill, they want to do a reboot, but not everybody has signed on. And then I know that they just released the movie I Know What You Did Last Summer, and so it was really nice that they brought, I think, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and so somebody else I'm probably not thinking of. What is her name? The girl from Can't Hardly Wait, Jennifer Love Hewitt, and then Freddie Prinze Jr., so they brought them back, and so I really like that they had that connection, because they did the same thing with She's All That for the reboot He's All That. They brought back that girl Rachel Lee Cook, and so that was just nice to kind of have that connection to the original TV show or the original movie.
He came from a very troubled background.
I'm sorry. It was very difficult for some of us to just kind of find our way.
Sometimes you don't want to be known for Degrassi. And I think we all had that, where we're just trying to escape it.
It grew into an empire, and there are definitely individuals.
I have to pause it there, because why would you want to escape Degrassi? Like, obviously, I don't know what it was like for these people to have to constantly film this TV show for however long they were involved in the project. Like, just talking about Vampire Diaries, if you filmed it for 7 seasons, that's 7 years of your life, at some point you may want to play a different character and you're just done and you're sick of it. But I can't imagine wanting to get away from these big time TV shows where they're basically cult classics where people want to go back and watch that. One, to experience the show all over again, but also experience that time period all over again, because Degrassi, like the original Degrassi, I don't know if they are doing reruns for it, but they should, because I would definitely want to learn more and kind of see more about what it was like to be a teenager in the 80s, where you don't have cell phones and the internet the same way that you do now, and definitely when I grew up in the early 2000s. So yeah, they definitely need to start getting all of this stuff on rerun. I think Degrassi, like the next generation of Degrassi, might be on HBO Max or just Max, whatever it's called now, but I really do want to see the original TV show from the 80s.
That have made money off of the empire? Have we always got it right? Probably not. Have we told our stories with the best of intentions? Yes, we have.
Everybody wants something, they'll never give up.
But yeah, that was just really amazing to see this trailer, all of the nostalgia. It does make me want to go watch Degrassi again, but I probably would not be able to focus on it right now. But this show definitely meant a lot to me during my childhood. Just looking forward to all of the new episodes and the storyline. I don't think I started it when it first came out, like Degrassi The Next Generation. So I think I had to go back and figure out why Jimmy and Ashley were feuding and what their relationship was like before they broke up and all of that stuff. And so that was pretty cool, being able to go back to like season 1, episode 1, and kind of figure out all of that stuff. And I'm talking about back in the early 2000s when I was watching this show, because I kind of started it not necessarily in the middle, but I was late to the party in terms of watching Degrassi. And so I think a friend told me about it because I started playing AAU basketball, I think when I was 10, and then maybe when I was 12 or 13, a teammate was telling me about the end and Degrassi, and that was how I started watching it. So yeah, Degrassi, man, that is such a good TV show. Let me see, I'm gonna Google and see if I can find out more about Degrassi. But I was really bummed out that everybody else other than Nina, Jimmy, or Drake, and then the other girl, Shanae Grimes, because she did 90210, and then there's somebody else who, Stacey Farber, she was on the Virgin River, so yeah. And then I don't know anybody else from another TV show, but I know that, what's her name? Cassie Steele, she kind of did that thing with the girl from Dirty Dancing where she changed her nose and then she was unrecognizable and didn't really get as many roles because people didn't realize that she was the girl from Dirty Dancing. And so Cassie Steele, she was pretty when she was doing the show, but she did change her nose or something like that. And so she looks unrecognizable to me. And I wonder if that had any impact on her acting career. And then I haven't really seen anybody else. Oh, but in terms of Degrassi, you know what I'm really surprised that we didn't see in the trailer? Let me Google this, because there's people from the class after the Next Generation. I don't know what it's called, Degrassi Next Class. There's people who, Sarah Waste Class, if I'm saying her name correctly, she is on Ginny and Georgia, and then Chelsea Clark is also on Ginny and Georgia, and then I feel like I'm missing somebody out. The guy who played Hunter, I don't know if I've seen him on a recent Netflix TV show, but yeah. Oh, and then Sav from Degrassi, I didn't see him in the trailer because he's also in Ginny and Georgia. I wonder where Ginny and Georgia is filmed, because they have a lot of people from Degrassi on that TV show, so it would have been nice to see them in there because they are currently acting. They have acting roles in TV shows that are being released now and filmed now and all of that stuff. So it would have just been good to see people who are still acting in terms of having their work on most major streaming platforms, because I hate that it feels like some of these people are typecast to where they are only known for Degrassi. And they did the same thing with One Tree Hill, where a lot of them, other than Sophia Bush, Chad Michael Murray for obvious reasons, and then Hillary Burton kind of, but the rest of them, they're typecast and you only associate them for the most part with One Tree Hill. And so I really hate that, because when you do so well in one role and that's all you're known for, that does kind of suck. But also Degrassi does have a huge impact for the people who watched it live when it was actually airing on TV once a week and all of that stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited to see this documentary. From the comments on the video, I didn't know if it was going to be released in America, if it's just going to be available in Canada. So I have no idea where to watch it and when to watch it, but I'm definitely going to do more research into that. But yeah, I'm super excited to see this trailer, because, and I wonder if it's Drake who's making all of this happen, because he got everybody interested in talking about Degrassi again with the I'm Upset video, which I mentioned earlier, and then the potential reboot, and then now this documentary. So I really do hope that these people get more opportunities to kind of be involved in whatever's going on with Degrassi. And I would love to see a reboot. They should do the next class or whatever it's going to be called, because they really did have some good storylines from Degrassi The Next Generation. Because I know that the biggest thing that happened was obviously Jimmy getting shot, so Wheelchair Jimmy, his basketball career is ruined, but then also JT and Liberty, him getting shot, and then Mia being an annoying girlfriend and not realizing that Liberty deserved more kind of like sympathy and all of that stuff for what happened with JT, because they were in a serious relationship. Oh my god. So yeah, a lot of crazy stuff happened in Degrassi. It really goes there, and I'm super glad that I came across this trailer. So if you are a Degrassi fan, let me know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.